I think that we're still early days. The institutional interest in Bitcoin has dramatically jumped in the macro community and the hedge fund community over the past year. You can see in the body language and the rhetoric of J.P. Morgan and Goldman Sachs, Jamie Dimon, and the way that David Solomon speaks about it, and the way that BlackRock speaks about it, and the way that Ray Dalio speaks about it, and the way that George Soros speaks about it. We're no longer at the stage where people are skeptical that it will continue to exist or skeptical of its value. I think it's now got the grudging respect of a lot of people. We're really more at the stage we're waiting for regulatory clarity. There's just a lot of political debates at the DC level over how much friction will be in the space. I think the banks would like to see more clarity from banking regulators about how much they can hold on their balance sheet and what the reserve ratio would be. And I think the accounting treatment clearly has been a liability for large institutions, because indefinite intangible is always going to understate the value, and it's also going to create confusion. Because I could hold $1 billion and you could hold 100 million, and we would both look like we held 100 million, and you would have to dig deep into my financial statements to know the difference. And so it just makes everything hard and opaque. So that we have more adoption to come, and every single thing that happens, every time that there's an advance from the FDIC or FASB or CFTC or SEC or Congress, I think all those things are catalysts for adoption, and we're going to see more institutional adoption as time goes on. There's more regulation coming to anyone that's in this space, more clarity. So I think the worst of it is behind us, but I don't think that the industry has been clarified or completely rationalized yet. I think that there's thousands and thousands of cryptos that need to disappear, right? I think there's a 99% rationalization rate that needs to happen. And so I just think we went through an pretty important deleveraging, and I think that people will be much more careful in the way they view things going forward than they were a couple of years ago. I think we were in a Wild West stage the first decade of the industry, and we need adult supervision in the industry. And there's an entire generation of people that need to understand counterparty risk and basic risk management, and they also need to understand the difference between a security and a commodity. Due respect, there's still a lot of people that don't really understand the ethical or legal difference between a security and a commodity. And until they grasp the nuance of how you create a digital commodity, they're not going to grasp the way to segment the market and the right way to think about all these assets. I think Bitcoin is a better gold than gold. You can move it at the speed of light. You can see with the Lightning Network evolving that pretty soon we'll have 1 billion people able to move any block of Bitcoin anywhere friction-free. Bitcoin is digital money for the 21st century. Gold was metallic money for the 19th century. So I just think if you believe in sound money, then you should do yourself a service, and you ought to sell your gold and you ought to buy Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is sound money for the 21st century and gold was sound money for the 19th century. Just that simple. For publicly traded companies with GAAP accounting to adopt Bitcoin in a big way, there's a couple things you need. You either need to fix the accounting so it's not prejudicial and hostile to the ownership of the asset class. And that means at least make it kind of pari passu to holding equity or something. Like if you're holding equity, you take a mark to market and you have fair value accounting. So that's one possibility. And the other possibility is people have to hold it in the form of a security. And if you hold in a security, you would probably get fair value accounting, but that means an ETF, and preferably a spot ETF. So there isn't a spot ETF right now. And even if you have a spot ETF, the rules in public companies are you can't hold more than 40% of your assets as a security before you trip the SEC 40 Act. MicroStrategy couldn't do what we did if we were holding Bitcoin as a security. We have to hold it as a property.
Before we continue, help us clicking that YouTube like button and subscribe now to our channel. This shows the algorithm that you valued this information, and it helps us spread that message. Sharing is caring. And now, let's continue.
I have bad news for you. If you're not rich by now, you're screwed. And if you're in debt, you're even double screwed. How so, you might wonder? Well, the sad truth is that you're working your whole life to make someone else rich. The mega corporations, the banks, the politicians, everyone is getting richer. They get your money. And what is even worse, they get your time, they get your life. You are not even in a rat race. You're in a financial prison. But what could a solution for you look like? Honestly, I don't know, but I know what a solution for me would look like. It's very simple. I use whatever money I have and I multiply it with 1,000. This could make my life much easier and probably yours as well. If you have $1,000 available and multiply this with 1,000, I believe that this could solve some financial issue for the one or the other. Of course, if you're ugly, you would have to multiply it with much more than 1,000. My name is Marco Stan, and this is what I decided to do. I decided to 1000x my money. This is not a joke. I know what you may be thinking. What is this guy talking about? How should this work? This is not possible. Well, I made a detailed video where I laid out my plan. And some clever folks might even want to look at this plan and copy it and do exactly what I do. This is just a little hint on the side. You have two options. You leave, you forget what you have seen. You do whatever you're doing and you hope that somehow you get some other results. Good luck with that. Or you click the link below the video. You enter your email address because I'm not showing this to everybody. You at least watch my video on how I plan to 1000x my money. The choice is yours. Make the right choice. Join me. See what a different future you could have. See at least how I plan to do the 1000x. So click on the link below, enter your email address, and I see you on the other side. Your Marco Stan.